Welcome to Code Debugger. Today we are going to do code operation using Spring Data JPA. So let's start with the Spring Initializer first. Let's create a project here. See here, I'm selecting the Java language as my main project and the artifact as code operation Spring Boot. Packaging type of jar. Java version is 8 and I'm selecting 4 dependencies here. Web dependency SQL, Spring Data JPA, S2 database and Lumbo. Okay, let's generate the project here. Okay, it's downloaded successfully. Let's extract this. Okay, let's import into the IntelliJ. Yeah, it's imported successfully here. So now the Maven structure is ready. Let me delete the test package. Let me create the problem in future. Okay. So let me add a controller. Controller, then model, add repository. In model, user model will be there. Okay. Add the right entity. Add the right getter. Add the right setter. Add the right entity we are getting from the Java persistencies API. API and related annotation. Okay. So let me give a ID, private string, UID, private string, name, private string, mobile, private string, address. These are the 4 attributes I have taken here. Let me add this as a UUID. I will add a automatic it will generate the ID for the Spring Data JPA. It will generate automatically. Let me add. This is the live template I have configured here for the UUID. So at the rate ID, at the rate generated value is equal to UID2. At the rate generic generator, name is equal to UID2 you need to give and strategy is equal to UID2. So it will automatically at the runtime when we are going to store the user in database, it will create a UID for that unique UID. So all those things will be as per the name. The column name will be as per the name, name, mobile, and address. So let's go ahead and create the controller, user controller. Let's annotate this with other trash controller. I will give a root level annotation, request mapping. I'll give here slash users. For saving purpose, I will create a method, public string, save user. Okay, let's return user saved successfully. I'll take a user as a a request body. Okay, at the rate request body annotation. Okay, at the rate post mapping I will use. So let's create a repository here. Repository I will take an interface user repo. Okay, it will extend from GPA repository. I need to give user as an entity and ID will be string. We will store the UID. So let's annotate this with @ repository. Okay, that's it. Now let's inject the repository into the controller. I'm not creating the service layer, so directly injecting the repository into the controller. Private user repo @auto_var. Okay, what we will do, we'll save the user dot save user. Okay, why it is giving error? Let's see. User repository user repo extend. Sorry, I've given here wrong that type. Yeah. Okay. Whenever it will get saved successfully, it will come to this line and it will return the user saved successfully. And if you want, I can return the user, whatever user saved, that user also we can return. Let's return that only. Okay. Yeah. In application.properties file, we need to add some properties. Let's change it to application.yml file. It will be easy for us to add the properties. YML. So I will use S2 database. So I am having live template for the S2. So this is the live template. So Spring data source, I will use the S2 database, S2 driver here, and my database name will be, let's say, username will be SA, and password, there is no password there. Okay, so let's start the application and we'll see. Before that, let's build that first. After that, we'll start the application. Clean install. Yeah, build is successful. Let's start the application. Yeah, application is getting up. Yeah, Tomcat started at 8080 port, and also S2 console also is ready. Let's go to the S2 console and let's see the database. Localhost colon 8080 slash S2 hyphen console. If you see here, I have given the user as a DB name. Let's test the connection. Connection is ready. Connect to the database. If you see here, user database has created here. User table has created UID, address, mobile number, and uname. Okay, so let's create a user and store. So 8080 slash, let's get the user. Okay, let's go to the controller first. slash users, and the post method we need to call. Let's make it first post slash users, and in body we need to pass raw data, then we need to pass the JSON. Okay, now, so let's create a JSON here. What are the properties inside the user? We need to check. ID no need to give, automatically ID will get generated at the time of saving of the object. Let's copy the uname first, uname, mobile, and address. All are string. Okay, uname, let's say Dhananjay, mobile number 901090, so address Bangalore. So let's go ahead and save the object. If you see here, one UID automatically got generated, and uname is null, it is showing. You need to check that why uname it is showing as null. Okay, let's check first. It is storing uname as false. Let's debug that first. What is the value we are getting in uname? In controller layer, we'll put a debug point here and we'll see. Okay, let's run again. Same. Yeah, we're getting the object, user object here. If you see here, uname we are getting as null. That's why it is not storing the value. Let's check why username is getting null. Uname. Okay. Uname. Okay. I guess underscore name or hyphen name it will take. Let's try with that. I never faced this issue before. Okay, let's try. Okay. Yeah, let's try with underscore first. Okay. No. Why? We are not getting uname. Check. Getters and setters is there. Username we are taking. Mobile address. Let me give a small name. Maybe Jackson library which we are using. Maybe it is doing something internally. It is converting to small or something. Let's me try. Yeah. Actually, Jackson API is converting that to small. That's why we are passing whatever we are given here, but Jackson API is converting that to small uname. It's okay. If you see here, now we are storing the mobile number, address, and UID automatically it is generating, and uname is Dhananjay here. Let's go to the database and see. Connection is successful. Let's run the query. Yeah, if you see here, now we are having Dhananjay value is there. So saving of the user is ready. Okay, so let's create a get operation for that. let's say list of user, get all user, and this will be a get mapping. Okay, so what we'll do here, return user repository dot find all will return. Okay, let's try with this. Let's run the program. So JP repository is the interface. It has provided internally all the methods to us, and Spring is giving the implementation for that at runtime based on our input parameters. Okay, these are the generics we are passing you the entity and the ID. Based on that, it is creating the methods at runtime. So let's try. Let's save a object. Since we are using a in-memory database, automatically whenever we will stop the server, automatically all the data will be deleted from the database automatically from the memory. So if you see here, now only one record is there. Let's try to get that record. Okay, so get operation, send. Yeah, you are getting the same. Okay, but two operations are completed. Post operation, get operation. Let's try with the update operation now. Let me stop the server. Write the logic to update. I'll update the mobile number for the user. I'll return the same user. Update mobile. Okay, and it will take string UID, comma string mobile. Okay, at the rate put mapping I will put here because we are passing ID, and based on that we are updating the mobile number. At the rate request mapping, sorry, at the request parameter to give. Take this as a parameter. Let's take that as a parameter. Ideally, so take this as a body inside the body because there may be multiple parameters will be there. But for this example, I am taking this as a request parameter. Okay, so let's return user repository dot save. We need to do the save, but before that we need to check, right? So let's return null now. Okay, let's get the user from the database first, whether the user is exist or not with the same ID. Let's check that first. User repository dot find by ID. Okay, UID will pass here. It will return a optional of user to us. Okay, optional OPT user. So we'll check if optional user dot each present is there. That means user is there. What we'll do, opt user dot get dot set mobile is equal to mobile. Do the mobile, then we'll save that user, right? Just a minute, let me separate this one. So you will get here, your understanding will separate this one. User is equal to get user. So user dot set mobile is equal to mobile. Will replace the mobile, whatever mobile is there. We're not checking that. We're replacing that directly. What we'll do, we will save the same user repo dot save of user. Okay, in case user is not exists, what we'll do, we'll throw the exception here. So new runtime exception, or else we can get the application specific exception and we can throw that. Now I am returning the runtime exception I am throwing here. User ID not exist. Okay. So that's it. Let's yeah, application is up and running. You can check if there is anything in database or not. Yeah, there is nothing in database. Let me go to the post operation. You see here now there is a object in the database. Yeah, we're getting that. We need to update that, right? Get, instead of get we need to change it to put. Same error will be there and the operation will be put. What we'll do, parameter will pass two things, right? One is UID and another one is mobile. Okay, this one is UID mobile. Okay. So what is the UID of this user? Let's copy this one. Okay, and the mobile is this one. Mobile number is 96 something. We'll put. Okay, send. We're getting errors. Why? Let's check. Runtime accessor user not exist is saying. Is there any mistake we did? Let me debug here whether user ID is coming or not. There may be a chance it is coming as a small letter. Okay, let's try now. No, now we get anyhow because there is no data is there in the database. Let's try to insert one data. Copy this ID. So now send this one. Okay, now also we are getting by. Okay, let me enable the debug point. Okay, now we are getting the UUID. Okay, sorry, I have done some mistake here. We need to return this one first. Instead of returning we are doing directly saving. We just need to return because here we don't, if you don't return it will come to throws and it will throw the exception. It's my bad actually. Let's start the application and test. Okay, let's see in the database. Yeah, empty. Let's store the data into the database. Copy the UID. Go to the put method and change the mobile number. Yeah, see here now the mobile number got changed to this 9090902. This number got changed. That means get, put, post, all the three operations are working fine. Okay, let me try with deletion of the user. Public string delete user. Take a string as a request parameter UID. Okay, so return user deleted successfully. Okay, user repo dot delete the user. First of all, we need to get the user first. After that, we can delete that. Same thing we can do here also. Whatever we have done in update operation. First, we will get the user. If the user is exist, then only you can delete the user. Okay. If the user is exist, dot get. Got the point? Yeah. Let's return here. After that, we'll throw. If the user ID is not exist, we'll throw this exception. Okay. So let me annotate this with other delete mapping. That's it. All the 4 operations we have done here: post, get, put, and delete. Let's try with delete operation. Run the application. Okay, application is running. Let's save a user first. Yeah, user is saved. Get that. Get is also working. Put the operation. Why put is not working now? Again, what is the issue? User ID not exist. Yeah, because now the user ID got changed, right? Okay, change the user ID. Do the put operation. Put is also working. Let's delete the user. Delete mapping. Copy the URL. Paste here. UID. We are passing as this. Okay. Let's delete the user. User deleted successfully. If you search in database, will not get any user. Right? Let's go to the code and let's see what are the things we have done here. We have written a controller here. At the REST controller we need to do because we need to expose this as a RESTful services. Then what we have done, we are giving here as a root level URL for the users. Based on that, based on the HTTP method, we are doing the operation. For post method, we are doing the save operation. For get method, we are doing the get all user operation. Like that, we are doing the all the 4 operations, whatever HTTP specific operation. Okay, and we are injecting here repository. Inside repository, we are extending from JPA repository, and we are passing username as an entity and string as a ID for that. Entity class, we are having ID as a primary key, and this is generated value and generic generator we are using for generating the UID automatically at runtime at the time of saving. So that's it we have done here, and here we are using H2 database. Here I am using H2 database because most of the people doesn't have that database configured in their system. So I tried with the H2 database, and but we can change that to any number of database without changing any code. We can just change the configuration. We can point it to any MySQL database or any other database. Let me try with that. Let me switch on the MySQL database. I will point to MySQL database and I will show to you. Okay, let me change the properties. I'm having live template for the MySQL database. So this is the MySQL specific code. If you see here, let me control Z, okay, MySQL. If you see here, these are the properties are there for the H2 database, and these are the properties required for the MySQL database. So there are small changes are there. You can do manually also, or you can do the setup for the live template also. Okay. Yeah. Let me start the MySQL. Yeah, MySQL added here. Let me start the application. Why it is getting failed? Because MySQL driver is not there. I need to add the MySQL driver for that. Let me add the MySQL driver. MySQL, MySQL Maven dependency. Okay, let's copy this one. Go to the pom.xml. Instead of h2 database, I will comment the h2 database here and paste everything. Paste the MySQL. Let me re-import the project first. Yeah, MySQL connected is there. Let me start the application again. If you see here, one table is created in MySQL database. Let's go to the MySQL database and see. Localhost. I'm using yeah, it's a DB. We are having tbl underscore user, and we are having one entry here. If you see here, let me try to do a update of the mobile number. So let's copy the ID 10, right? Let me create a user first, or else this UID I'll copy and will change the mobile number. You see, mobile number is 9090 something is there for this user. Okay, let me delete the record. Yeah, mobile number got changed here. Let's refresh this one. The user table is there. Sorry, yeah, user table. The mobile number got updated here. Okay, so that's it. We can switch one database to another database using configuration with a small change or minor change. So that's all about the CORDA version. Thanks for watching this video. If you have not subscribed the channel, please go ahead and subscribe the channel. Thanks.